Hello everyone, it's Denise. So I'm on here to do my Bible time with you guys. For those that haven't been tuning in, this is we've been reading from Illustrated Family Bible Stories, over 200 beautifully illustrated stories from the Old and New Testaments. So let me see what story we'll be getting into today. Okay, the pages join together, so I'm going to read two stories again today. So hang on, let me show you guys the pictures. So this is the pictures. See? So I'm going to first read the 3 facts. Okay, so Roman centurion. A centurion was an officer in the Roman army. He was in charge of a group of 100 soldiers called a century. Centurions commanded a lot of authority because they were the working officers in direct contact with the men. They were often ordinary soldiers who had worked their way up through the ranks. The centurion who came to see Jesus may have been an officer in the army of Herod Antipas. And the second fact, Jesus has the power to heal. One of the purposes of Jesus' miracles was to show that he was God. When the 4 friends boldly lowered the paralyzed man down through the roof, Jesus realized that they had faith, and he healed the man. His power to heal was a visible sign of his power to forgive sins. And the third fact, flat-roofed houses. In Jesus' time, most houses had a flat roof which was reached by an outside staircase. The roof was built by daubing a thick coating of mud onto a layer of reeds or brushwood laid over supporting wooden beams. The surface was then rolled flat. Roofs are still made in this way in some areas of the Middle East. These modern-day houses are in Jordan. So we're going to read 2 stories today instead of one because the 2 pages sort of join together, like with the pictures and that. So the first story that we'll be reading is from the book of Matthew chapter 8 and Luke chapter 7. And it's called The Centurion's Servants. So here I go. One day while Jesus was in the town of Capernaum, a centurion came to him and said, "Please, Lord, you must help me. My servant is very sick. He is at home lying helpless in terrible pain." The centurion was upset because the servant was one of his very best, and he did not want to lose him. Immediately Jesus replied, I will gladly go with you to your home and heal him." But the centurion did not think that was necessary. He knew that Jesus had the power to heal without having to be with the servant. "Lord, you are far too important to come into my house," the centurion said humbly. "I know that just a single word of command from you will heal my servant without you being there, because I understand that you have great authority. I myself am in the army, and when my commanding officer gives me orders, I obey him, just as soldiers below me do exactly as I tell them." When Jesus heard the centurion's words, he was amazed. "I have not found anyone, even in Israel, with so much faith," he told the listening crowd. Then, turning to the centurion, he said, "Go home now, and you will find that your servant is already healed." And when the centurion arrived home, he was delighted to find that his servant had got out of bed and was completely well again. He had been healed at the very moment that Jesus had spoken. So the next story is from Matthew chapter 9, Mark chapter 2, and Luke chapter 5. And the title of this story is Jesus Forgives Sins. By now, large crowds followed Jesus everywhere he went, wanting to hear his message about God's forgiveness and to witness his power to heal the sick. One day Jesus was teaching in a house in Capernaum. A huge crowd of people had squeezed into the house to listen to him. 4 men arrived carrying a sick friend on a mat because he could not walk. They wanted to ask Jesus to heal him, but they could not get into the house to talk to him. Looking around for another way in, they climbed onto the roof and made a hole. Then they carefully lowered their paralyzed friend on his mat into the room where Jesus was speaking. Jesus saw that they had faith in him, and he said to the man, "My friend, your sins are forgiven." Some religious leaders who heard this were shocked. Who did this man think he was? They wondered angrily. Only God himself could forgive sins. Jesus knew what they were thinking and said, "So that you know that I have the authority to forgive sins, I will heal this man." And he turned back to the paralyzed man and said in a firm voice, "Get up, pick up your mat, and go home." The man twitched his legs to see if he could move, then jumped up and boldly walked out in front of everyone. The crowd were amazed at this miracle and went away praising God. So those are the two stories, and I didn't come online yesterday, so this makes up for yesterday, I guess. Anyways, I love you guys. God bless.